Hello everyone. I wanted to do a video on my take on the importance of equipment and just what sort of implications that can have on your photography. And I thought a really good example was this director here, Leonardo D'Alessandri, an Italian director. And if you can see, I'll just press here. Here's one of his pieces that I'm just sort of goo gaga over. It's a Corona commercial. It really sort of strikes home with me because I've spent a lot of time and sort of being immersed in Latino culture and stuff. And you guys got to watch this. I mean, it's just some amazing stuff. I don't even feel like it's a commercial. It's like cinema. I mean, it's just amazing. So, but we're going to jump in there. And the example we're going to look at today in terms of our equipment discussion and how important gear is in your overall photography is this watchtower of Turkey. And you guys may have heard of this. This video it's gotten pretty famous as being really influential in terms of modern day video transitions and stuff like this. And I'm not going to go ahead and play this whole thing, but you guys can watch this on your own. We'll just check out the start here just so you know you're getting the right one. But he does a lot of speed ramping. But we're going to get in there and talk about his equipment. Okay, so, and as you guys know, you probably my more loyal listeners know that I'm sort of a big fan of just forgetting about your equipment. And that doesn't mean it's not important, right? That just means that, like, the way I'll start off here is I bet if I had to guess, this guy who's like an amazing, videographer, filmmaker, I bet he had a talk with few of his film buddies one day, and they were throwing this around that the fact that the Panasonic GH3 was great, and he picked it up, and guess what, that's the camera he was using back then. Now he's probably changed. I'm just saying, my point is, I don't think people like this obsess on gear at all, so it's something to think about. That's just my opinion. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and look at the equipment he used to make this video that I want you to watch on your own, Watchtower of Turkey. All right, that'll be on YouTube and his Vimeo channel. So I'll go ahead and read this out loud. So the interviewer asks him, what equipment did you take for this Watchtower Turkey trip? And he goes on to say, I didn't take a load of equipment. He had two Panasonic GH3s, which don't have IBIS, by the way, so keep that in mind when you watch the video, and an entry-level GoPro. And he's probably shooting stuff, I actually forget, but probably trying to get like in the water, or at least maybe not submersed, but splashing situations with that GoPro, maybe when he's up high or something, just situations he didn't feel comfortable taking his Panasonic. You'll see maybe he uses that. And he had his, we don't really have to consider that, right? He had a computer, and he had a couple of these hard drives to put everything on. And he's saying he didn't use anything else. Okay, so this is the big thing. No sliders, no mounts, no stabilizing gear. He had a little tripod, but I'm so sort of obsessed with this guy. I've read a little bit more about this than we're seeing here, but he didn't even use this tripod that much. Okay, as he's saying here, he did most every shot handheld. I think he might have mentioned somewhere that he did use the tripod a couple of times, but you can see it here. He has a few lenses in here, and they're listed right there. I think he went on to say he used this really fast lens, this Leica lens, the most, I think. And anyway, you can see there, and I want you to really look at that result he got in this Watchtower Turkey. And as you can see, if we scroll down a little more, he just had like a cheap little Tascam audio recorder. And his sounds in that video are quite amazing. And he did use a lot of the original sounds from on site. So he was able to capture that with just a tiny little recorder. This is just really simple, cheap stuff. And as you can see, if we scroll down a little more, he's not even shooting in 4K or anything. But when you watch this, you notice the transitions, you almost feel like he had to shoot 4K or something. But you notice his transitions must have been planned in terms of like him swiping to the right at the end of his shots or swiping to the left. Because he's shooting all this, as we saw there, in 1080p, okay? So he's shooting all that in 1080p. So he's really planning out his shots, and the way this worked and the way I understood it is he's taking a ton of footage, and I'm talking about like almost absurd amount of footage. I mean, I think it says up here he filled up a couple of, I think he took 4 TB of footage, so you can get an idea there how much footage he might have had. But you can see what he's doing is, in general, he's using hyperlapses, and he's using these camera moves sort of at the beginning or at the end of some of his shots, or he's moving forward with his camera and back. And the point is, it's amazing how stable he's able to get this, right? So that's probably a lot to do with his sort of post-processing and his shooting technique. You know, these guys who went to film school, they know how to hold the camera and stuff. And I think one of the greatest applications is, you guys probably know, I don't shoot a lot of video, but I'm going to go ahead and come out of my cocoon here, because I've been telling people for about a year now. I really have. I've been saying, I feel like real estate photographers should be shooting, they can go more handheld than they think, okay? So it's like everyone's bringing in these huge, you know, pieces of equipment, and think about what a real estate video is. It's really like, you just got to get in there and get out. I mean, I feel like people are overthinking it. I mean, this guy is making, you know, a film here that's like won awards on Vimeo, okay, like video of the year, and he doesn't have a tripod, right? So point being, if you go into a house for a $200 video shoot, I think you're going to be okay if you're doing like pans on a tripod, and you know, you only need like, say, a second and a half of footage shot. Like, let's say a slider shot, you only need a little bit of footage, and you can shoot in a higher frame rate and kind of slow it down in post, and that makes it smoother. And so you only need, say, a foot of movement. And the point here I'm getting at is, you can make this stuff look smooth just with the camera in your hands, in my opinion. That doesn't mean go shoot an entire home handheld. It just means that, you know, you could probably be using your drone, using your tripod, using pans, and using your, you know, your stabilized, you know, most of these cameras nowadays have IBIS. You can just walk into rooms with your camera and just sort of like a bedroom. You can just walk in, just hold it stable. You're going to have totally usable shots pretty much throughout the house, as far as I'm concerned. So I'll just sort of put this on you guys at the end. Just go check out these videos. Just go check out what can be done with little equipment. This was like a huge production. So I just wanted to show you guys that, because I think it's like out of this world. But this Watchtower Turkey was definitely done, as we saw here. Very, very little equipment, stuff you can fit in a little backpack, and a few lenses, okay? And then like I said, not even using gimbals, anything, like not really a tripod, nothing like that. So I hope looking into all that sort of inspires you to go watch those videos, and just be inspired by the fact that this guy is getting out there and doing this stuff without any of this equipment, this bulky equipment. And the reason this really strikes home with me is, I feel like sort of based my photography career around trying to get really nice photos and bringing, say, just a tripod, a camera, and one light with me. And that's why I feel like I really, really sort of connect with the way this guy is working in certain ways. He's just taking a minimal amount of video gear out there, and he's producing results that are just like absolutely out of this world, all right? So check him out, and I hope you can get some really, really great inspiration from that, and just ways that you can sort of propel your photography forward, yet without having to just constantly be thinking about gear only, right? That's just ridiculous. That's not really what it's all about.